Hi, my name's Natalia, and I wanted to talk about some topics that are discussed by Glick and Frisk in their essay on sexism that I found interesting. One of these was what Virginia Woolf called the astonishing extremes. And this is the idea that women need to be both strong and weak and pretty and ugly and have other kind of extreme characteristics all at the same time. And the reason why I found this interesting was because almost 100 years later, and I think it's still very much true. I think it manifests itself in the idea of women having to have it all that has become popular recently. The idea that they need to be, there all the time for their children and, keep the house in perfect order, whilst at the same time also being completely dedicated to their career and never missing a day of work. I think it puts a lot of pressure on women, pressure that men don't necessarily have. They can kind of pick to be completely dedicated to their career and nobody really begrudges them for that. Another thing that I found interesting that Glick and Frisk bring up is they say sexism is the predictable product of structural relations between men and women. I completely agree with this. I think when we grow up having this idea that men go off and work and support their family and, women stay at home, I think it's kind of it's natural to conclude that women therefore must be weaker. And so I think this shows why it's really important to challenge gender roles, that we teach our kids that women can work and support the family and men can stay at home and clean the house and look after the kids, or they can share the roles and that's okay. I think that would, lead to things to, the idea that women is a weaker sex kind of, dissipating, becoming less common. Another thing that I found interesting was they say hostile sexism increases as the more sexist a country is. And the reason why I find this interesting is because hostile sexism is defined as when somebody thinks that women are trying to usurp the power of men, as opposed to benevolent sexism, where women are kind of put on a pedestal as these, they need to be protected. So while sexism is, of course, the belief that women are, the weaker sex. And so I think it's kind of interesting that you could think that a woman are weaker sex, yet also be afraid that they'll usurp the power of men. And I think the reason for this is that sexism is often a result of people not really feel very secure in their own position in society. And so I think it goes to show that it's important that, everybody has, access to economic opportunity and education so that they can have that feeling of security and not feeling like, it could be taken away by, somebody else, Yeah, so I think that, Glick and Frisk in their essay suggest a lot of ways that we can create, more equality. However, of course, it's probably going to take a long time before sexism goes away and the sexes are truly equal. So, thank you for watching this video.